Howdy y'all, Bobo back here at my home shop with yet another project. This is the Model L Gravely that I posted the last video on of getting spark, but it's going to take a little bit time. It's going to be more of a restoration project. This is a project I got just to kind of possibly get running and get rid of. There's a few of these out here. It's an old Kohler generator. Called this the engine's a L600 Kohler. Now I have one of these that is complete that I got out of a building. It was a backup generator. There's a lot of stuff. The carburetor isn't right on this. I just scabbed one on there, and fuel lines, and it was set up to run natural gas, but it still had the fuel pump and everything and the lines on there, and it's got a heat exchanger there to help work the throttle when it's cold until it heats up. But this thing doesn't run. I bought it like that. I did get it got the mag cleaned up. It's got an old Wyco mag on it that does have spark, but it puts every once in a while. It's hard to do it when you're cranking it by hand, but I mean, that's the way they were made to start, so it should. But I took all the spark plugs out and basically put air to the shop air to all the cylinders at top dead center, and it's got the valves, intake and exhaust, are leaking pretty good. I think probably a little bit of lapping would get it good enough to fire. I may look around and try to find a carburetor that's a little bit different than this one, just it might work a little bit better, but I didn't want to take anything apart. These are probably old, I'm guessing probably late 40s, early 50s in that area. Maybe just in the 50s, I'm not positive. I've never really checked into any serial numbers, but I didn't want to pull it apart till I could see if there was like a head gasket or anything. I wanted to lap the valves, so of course flathead, the valves are in the block, so you got to remove the head. So I stumbled onto a company a while back that said they had head gaskets for these, and a lot of other old stock and aftermarket gaskets, and a lot of other gaskets. Which company is Olson Gaskets. I believe they're out of Washington State, but got a gasket. I was real pleased with that, so now I can go ahead and pull the head off and see if I can lap the valves just enough. I just want to get this thing running and probably get rid of it. But so I think I'm going to cut this hose off. It's so old and brittle that I'm not really going to worry about trying to save it. I can get a new piece. And I have a feeling just the spacing of the head bolts, there's a pretty big gap here. I have a feeling underneath this water connector there's a head bolt down in there, and I'm not sure. That may be why this plug is on there, to get something down in there, but we'll find out here in a little bit. But let's see here if we can get my phone squared away so we can start ripping this thing apart and see what happens. Try to lower this down a little bit here, so get it in a little bit further and see exactly what's going on here. It's not too bad. I guess we'll see how it goes. These old hoses, even though you decide to cut them, they can be pretty cantankerous. So And it's got these old school spring clamps that I have the other set of pliers at work, especially for them, but improvise and use whatever you got, I guess. Maybe easier said than done. Okay. Try to get this cap off of here. I was going to try to heat it up and take that plug out, but probably wouldn't hurt to have a new piece of gasket in there anyhow. I got plenty of material I can make that. I have a lot of material. I could have made the head gasket too. I do quite a bit of work with hit and miss engines, so that kind of gasket material is what mostly we use on some of those heads. But anytime you can get a pre-made gasket that's ready to roll, you're a lot better off. At least I am, anyhow. Huh, yeah. No head bolt. A lot of years of crud gets built up on these things. I have no idea if the generator even works. The back half, the cover is gone. So, might be a cool little engine to remove the generator and repurpose it for some cool little project, but I got way too many projects already. So if I can at least get it running, it can be somebody else's cool little project. Try to crack all these bolts loose before you get an impact on them, because sometimes just can't tell sometimes if it's coming loose or twisting. These are just 3/8 bolts. I have printed out a manual on this as far as engine specs and that. Just, I mean, they're only 3/8 bolts, so mid to upper 30s on the torque. And if you just don't know to go from center outwards when you torque it down, you should be good on something like this. Okay. There's probably some little dowel pins in there somewhere. Oh, maybe them can clean up through. I wondered if that might be a copper gasket. Probably really could have reused that. This over here. Old Victor, that's 1984. I don't know if that'd be a part number or the year. But well, I guess the actual cylinders. Flywheel in here, and you can get these cylinders the whole way to the bottom to see what kind of shape the cylinders are in. Those don't look too bad. Cylinders look really good. I'm guessing to get them valves lapped up there a little bit. Let's go to this side, see if I can get over here without screwing something up. My production crew just me, myself, and I, so to bear with me on that end of it. Get that carburetor off of there. It's not on there very tight, they just had it. Oops. Let me get my trusty Harbor Freight shop light here. Thing just gives you all kinds of light. Make sure we're this was just on there hand tight. I don't know if this will, I guess this will come off of here too. Line and plate off of there just to get it out of the way. What I'm doing this is to get the side plate off of here so I can get into the valve stems in the cam. Got a nut on it, so I'll take that one off. I looked around, the carburetors, the original carburetors for this thing are really, they're about like hen's teeth. You're not probably ever gonna find one, and if you do, it's gonna be pretty high dollar. And for this thing, it's not worth it for me. I may even try to make an apparatus here and run it on propane. I was trying to do that, and it was firing a little bit, but just with the propane, when you don't, it just blows too much out the intake. And that's not good. And this would have been the governor lever for the original carburetor. Let's see what we got here. There's no critters in here. Gasket's broken up. kind of see back in there after you got this plate off, all the valves in there. Basically, I'm not sure if I'm actually gonna be able to get those out of there. Sometimes with the cam and lifter still in it, it's going to be a problem getting them out of there, but to look up here and see what kind of keepers are on them. Okay, well, I think what I'm going to do is look around for most of these old valves. You can see they have these little holes in these valves, so I mean, that's pretty loose valve guide too, but I may be able to just make a little spanner to go in them. A lot of times you can do them right in there. Just put a little solvent on them and work them back and forth. Problem is, you can't really tell if it helped you until you get the head back on it. So for right now, I'm going to have to hold off here till I find a little spanner socket, the right size, or make something to get on a drill. You can then crank it till the valve's up and put a little, if you even wanted to, a little bit of valve lapping compound, but it's hard to get it cleaned out once you do that. So for now, that's where we're at. Stay tuned for the next part 2 here, that see what we can do about lapping some valves and getting them cleaned up a little bit and back together. Like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe and share it. Tell all your friends, and we'll catch y'all later.